Yo, yo, what's good? What's good? I can't even do a sound check. I'm by myself. Not by myself. But we are here. Oh, man. Let's see. Wednesday. Should be, yeah, 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 o'clock. All right. Cool, cool. We should be good. What's going on, Naruto? How's the sound check? Are we good on the music? Are we good on the levels? Yesterday, I played a few minutes of the recording and I felt like that was loud. I felt like the music was really loud. But I had a headset on anyway. But I felt like the music was kind of overbearing a little bit. I mean, you guys said it was fine, but I thought it was loud. I thought it was kind of loud, man. As per usual, guys, trading with real money does involve risk. Don't trade with money you cannot afford to lose. It's not licensed financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor or anything like that. Okay, read the risk disclaimer. That rolling risk disclaimer at the top, guys. And don't be dumb. Don't do dumb things. Okay, don't do dumb things. Think about what you're gonna do before you do it. Okay, think about that. The afternoon for the indices has started. There's 12 o'clock. So what have we done? We've rallied above a previous high. We've slammed lower. And today has been rather uneventful overall. There's our open. We rallied, retraced, didn't trade below this pre-market low, and have set up some lows that could be attacked for this afternoon. I'm not entirely sure. Dow, somewhat of a similar scenario in terms of a setup. You had equal highs here, traded above that, above a previous high, failed to get above the 830 high, and has also traded lower. The Nasdaq has traded above this 9 o'clock high, but hasn't traded below this 12 o'clock low. So it's a little bit mixed today. Little bit mixed today. And because the music is very quiet, which is fine. Okay. I mean, I don't want it too loud. I mean, I'll turn it up a little bit, but you know, we're not here for the music. You know what I mean? This is kind of extra. Just kind of extra. So we can have a little bit of finesse, you know? So looking at the other screen, the dollar took equal highs on the 1 hour. We talked about that yesterday. That was swept, and we're trading off that fairly aggressively now. Dollar's pulled back from 102.78 down to 102.61, so definitely a pullback there. It's just interesting because now we've watched the indices rally and the dollar rallied as well. You know what I mean? So I'm not entirely sure what's next for the dollar. I don't know. But those lows on the S&P seem pretty okay. Seem pretty decent. The only thing I've marked up really is a potential mitigation on a 5-minute. There's an imbalance within that at the higher end as well on that 5-minute time frame. This also happens to be a 15-minute imbalance here, it looks like. So if we have shifted from bullish to bearish, then we would not want to see price trade above this high. You know what I mean? Yeah, know what I mean? Guys, if you could, while you're here, give the stream a like so that way we can try and get on YouTube's algorithm and help get some more people on here. And then go from there. Yeah, Dow, our weakest index today at 0.6% as of right now, based on TradingView's calculation. And then again, the Dow is the one who has not traded below its session high, whereas the 830 open actually is here, but it did make a higher high there. And then Nasdaq as well, higher. So the Dow is the weakest one, it looks like, and there's a much stronger break lower to the downside for the S&P, because this low was kind of shaky with that last candle, because it wicked below that but then traded back above it, and this candle seems like it has a little bit more emphasis to the downside. So we may have shifted from bullish to bearish. It's a possibility. It is a possibility. But overall, I think today's been pretty sloppy. Personal opinion. Thank you, Nadia, for sending out the link. I'm pretty bad about that. I usually don't. Promote for my own stream. Okay, here's what the dollar looks like. As mentioned yesterday, right, we talked about those highs at 102.76. We tagged that, barely traded above it, and then we sunk, you know, the last hour or so. You know what I mean? $11.45 to $12.55. Well, that pullback in the dollar did not really push indices all that much higher. So if they are within somewhat of a correlation, then that may potentially mean a bearish indices. But again, like, intermarket with indices and dollar to me is not very good at it. Okay, I trust the relative strength more than I do intermarket. That's just me, personal opinion, personal preference. So the Nasdaq has not traded below this low, and I'm almost convinced this may end up being a stop run to go higher, but I don't want to long when there's equal lows, so I am not too sure. Happy to promote and learn with you. Appreciate that. Can you share this playlist? Felipe, it's the same one from yesterday. It's the copyright-free EDM. It's just, I mean, you go to Spotify and you literally just look up copyright-free music, and this one eventually comes up. It's just called copyright-free EDM music for Twitch and YouTube. And I just hit play. And I guess, I don't know which one it's on right now. I have no idea. But it's just on Spotify. It's not like YouTube or anything. So that's there for you. Okay. Shit, can't find it. There we go. You're welcome. You are welcome. What's good, Allie? What's good? You just see that US 30 is weaker than the others? That's what I think as well. But that almost looks like a stop run on the S&P. Look at the NASDAQ. It hasn't traded below that low. But the NASDAQ is fairly strong. So, yeah, that may be problematic for shorts. Just the way we traded there. How we didn't really close below that low. I would have, for me to be, I guess, like if I wanted to be, or what would solidify that a little bit more would be for me closing below that, at least on a 5-minute time frame. Obviously on a 1 minute we have, but I think the 5 minute just would have been a little bit more significant. So we'll see if price trades through this imbalance, and we'll have to see how that 15-minute closes as well, based on if we trade up in here. So I'd probably want to see again if we trade into that imbalance, if we respect it or not, or if we disrespect it. Because I don't know. Yesterday was pretty sloppy up until that last hour. Hopefully you guys studied that. I did post it. If you guys are tier 2 members, I did post a chart for you guys to look at. But if you were on the session, you pretty much looked at what we were watching yesterday. I nearly died with S&P. Didn't take the triple O's on a 1 minute. Yeah. Yeah, that'll happen sometimes. The Dow definitely closed lower on the 5 minute though. But the NASDAQ has not traded below that low. It's maintained that. So if the 5 minute trades up and through this imbalance and closes above that, I think that we may not be bearish. Civa's in Dow shorts. That's good. That's good. It's our weakest index today. It's the weakest index. Looks like it's coming back to this down candle here. Could be a potential mitigation. Similar imbalance like the S&P has there. If I was short, I wouldn't want price to trade back up near these highs. I wouldn't want to see that. I would want to see this probably act as I don't want to say resistance, but I would want to see price not get above that to go lower. Personal opinion. Know what I'm saying? I'm gonna screenshot here just to follow up with later. Right, but I won't cycle through all of them all day long. Okay. So it's about 1:12 Central Time. So we got about an hour and 45 minutes left in the day. We can put our time windows up on here. We need to. Okay. Man, it's cold, dude. I gotta turn the AC off. I'm like almost shivering. Almost shivering, chat. I'm like, you know? Oh, big stretch, big stretch. Haven't been outside today yet. Just had lunch, man. Hopefully I don't get that post lunch drowsiness. You know what I mean? That nap time, that lunch nap time, you know? If you guys didn't know, I put the link in the description as well. John Maxwell's book came out yesterday, and it's pretty good so far. I've read the first like 2 chapters. I'm on the 3rd one right now. Don't you think that we could trade up in the imbalance? Well, we're at the imbalance right now. We're at the imbalance right now. And this is also a potential 15-minute, because I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, to me, that's a 15-minute imbalance. But as I mentioned, I don't really like how we came off of this low here, because that looks like a stop run almost. You know what I mean? So if that is a stop run to go higher, then we would be wrong on shorts. You know what I mean? And so that's why, to me, I'm watching this 5-minute imbalance. If price comes up on a 5-minute time frame and closes above that, I think I would be wrong with bearish ideas. And I think that if I'm wrong on being bearish, then we may end up being bullish. You know what I'm saying? But we'll see what we do from here. And not really too much going on over there on the NASDAQ. Oh, we just opened a new 15-minute candle as well. So we will watch and we will see. We will see. Orlando, if you go to yesterday's stream, if you rewatch yesterday's stream, I talked about that. The last hour usually provides some good opportunities for reversals. Not afternoon session usually can offer some good reversals. That last hour can usually provide some good setups as well. So to me, I always used to have the context of short covering or longs taking profit, you know, and to me, I always kind of relied on that. And, you know, there's different explanations for why the market moves in the last hour. So whether we're right or wrong in terms of why price does what it does, you know, that's, I guess, debatable on, you know, what you believe. But at the end of the day, price action is price action. So, you know, I could explain something, you know, I could say, well, I think the market's going to trade higher because we've been bearish all day and, you know, there could be short covering and the market could just reprice higher. So I could be right in the direction, but wrong on the context. You know what I mean? So I have my reasons, I have my beliefs on why price does what it does, but some people may not agree, you know? So I can only really give you my opinion on why I believe the market does what it does. If the dollar index ends up pushing higher to get back above the equal highs and more into that imbalance, that would be in confluence with lower indices. But the only target decent enough for me to the downside is on S&P. The Dow doesn't have equal lows, but the Dow does look like the weakest index. NASDAQ is the strongest index today. I wouldn't want to short the strongest index. It does look like it's forming some type of big bull flag, which I wouldn't trust. I wouldn't trust it. But I think personally the dollar index price action is a little sloppy. I don't really have a handle on it. No pun intended, because we're looking at indices, but you know, I don't have a good grip on the dollar, at least on like a 15 or 5 minute. But in a general sense, if it does trade higher, that would be in alignment with potentially short indices. So there's a little bit of into market justification. All we really need to know is that it does. Oh yeah, I mean, price does what it does. You know, I could have one reason, someone else could have another reason, but at the end of the day, price, you know, the history is, you know, no one can argue that this is a new high. You know what I mean? Like, price did that. Why it did that, you know, we could all have different opinions on. I think it's luring buyers in, you know, or shorts getting stopped out. You know, or some people could say, well, you know, the algorithm redelivered price up here or whatever, or, you know, smart money drove price up there. And like, you know, there's a plethora of reasoning and justification that anybody can have on, you know, why price does what it does. And that's why, you know, when I began teaching many years ago, that's why I always opened up with that. I always opened up with, I'll tell you what I believe, you know, but there's always the possibility that I could be wrong about why price does what it does. You think I can just call up smart money and be like, hey bro, are you manipulating price? Are you gonna run the euro? Are you gonna run the indices? Like, bro, I can't verify stuff like that. You know what I mean? I can't verify things like that. There's no way to do that. There's no way to do something like that. Marius is in shorts on the Dow, and you're still in that. That's good. That's good. It's reacted pretty decently off this area that we talked about. Right there. That little overlap between the mitigation and the imbalance potential. It reacted pretty nicely there. That's what I would want to see. If I was, I'm not in a short on Dow, but if I was, I would want to see that. I would want to see us from here. I wouldn't want to see us trade above this high. I would want to see us expand lower. If that is going to be a one tap. One tap. Sometimes the market does come back into a mitigation, or it comes back deeper into an imbalance, take a short-term high and then run lower, you know. Or if there's something that I missed, if I missed something on a higher time frame and this ends up being like a long, you know, that's always a possible thing too. It's always a possibility as well. But what concerns me is that 15-minute, how we have no wick on the upside right there. That is a little bit concerning. You can see it on the 5-minute as well, that 115. That lack of wick, you know, is there. But the Dow has a lot of those. Quite a bit, quite a number of those. So I guess it just depends. Huge gap up today. Huge gap up on SPY. Okay, look at that from yesterday. You know? I'm wondering who was looking for a reversal yesterday on the upside. You know? But not that I would have held overnight. I'm just saying, you know, we were looking for longs yesterday. But anyway, we're above that high. And it's just this huge gap. And I'm not too sure. We may want to dig into that. This is why we think in terms of probabilities. Okay? Oh. Sorry, I meant to go to DJI. I was wondering, like, when did I get markups on that? I was confused there for a minute. I was like, where's the gap? There's no gap on the Dow. Here it is. So somewhat of a similar story. We've gapped up this morning, but look at the range we've been in, dude. We've been just sideways, man. It's not always the greatest of opportunities. It's not always great. Unless you go on small time frame, sure. But I don't know. Hard to tell. And now you kind of see that flag I was talking about for NASDAQ. Kind of like that. This big old triangle here, generally speaking. So I don't know. I don't know. See, if we were bearish on this, I would not like what we're doing right now. Distribution look very clean. Hey, Mars, whatever works, man. Whatever works, I'm not against it. Get that 2 p.m. scrap, pat, bang. Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. Wouldn't Dow try to take that daily high from a few days ago? If Dow is our weakest index, we probably wouldn't expect that. We probably wouldn't expect that. We've been stuck in this range all day. I mean, look at the range today. Look at the last couple of days, and then look at today. Today's been stuck in a relatively small range for Dow. S&P, somewhat of a similar story. Not the same, but just somewhat. Okay. And then NASDAQ as well. You can see today's range is smaller compared to yesterday and the last, number of days. Does that make sense? Today's range is smaller than any of the ranges the last few weeks. I mean, measure it. Okay. So if that's our current range for today, smaller than yesterday, this day, that day, that day, that day, that one, this one, this one, this one. All of them have been larger than what we have today. For a while. So we're not really getting a lot of volatility in one direction. Okay. We spent a lot of time at this imbalance. For the S&P, the Dow kind of struggling to get back up into there the same way that the S&P is. And then the NASDAQ is making us trading slightly higher. And let me pull up the dollar. Yeah, I don't have a good grip on the dollar, so I'll leave you to analyze that one. So when it comes to trade management, okay? We've got a decent reaction, but we never close below this low anywhere. And I don't like that. And I kept saying this is a signature for a potential stop run because we wicked below that, but then closed above it. So there is a possibility that could be a stop run and we run higher. Look at that 15-minute time frame. That candle, if you're bearish and you get something like that, like, wow. Okay, wow. Not that I'd base an entire trade or management from one candlestick, but I'm just saying. If you're bearish, you want extension to the downside, retracement on the upside, and then further extension downside. And I don't want to marry the idea. Jesus. Do you guys know that I am verified on Instagram now? So anyone that reaches out to you that doesn't have a verification badge, it ain't me. I think that's a really great feature for social media. I think that's really cool. And it's only like 15 bucks a month. You know, one of my goals the last 2 or 3 years was to get verified on Instagram, you know, the right way. But apparently 9,000 followers, fucking Amazon best-selling book is not enough. Driver's license and all that, I guess it's not enough. Your own website, your own YouTube channel with 5,000 subs, I guess it's just not enough for Instagram or Meta, whatever. Been on Facebook since 2009. I guess it's not enough. I guess because I'm not on Spotify, you know, or whatever. So it's unfortunate that, you know, I couldn't get it the way that I wanted it. But we still got it. We still got it. All right, let's see what we do here. Price is still, it looks, or it's looking like it wants to respect that. But I'd be a little irritated if I was short. What's good, Ark? I'm doing good. I'm doing pretty good. I just had lunch. How are you doing? And I just read the first 3 chapters, or the first 2.5 chapters of John Maxwell's newest book, The 16 Undeniable Laws of Communication. It's pretty good. Fun fact, he actually he quotes Simon Sinek, which I thought that threw me off. That threw me off big time, because I don't think he's ever done that. Out of like the other 12, 15 books I've read from John, I don't think he's ever mentioned Simon Sinek. Maybe he did once and maybe I forgot, but I was really thrown off when he did that. Not in a bad way, I was just surprised, because, you know, Simon Sinek and John Maxwell are technically rivals, because they're both, you know, superstars in the field of leadership. And so for John to quote him, I just wasn't expecting that. But I think it's a good thing. I have a lot of respect for John Maxwell. The guy's like 70 or 80 or something. I don't know. He's old. He's been around the block. But he's a good guy. He's a good guy. Are you in this trade? I'm watching 2 minute, but looks like last hour PM would be best. No, I'm not in this. I'm not in this. I don't like it right now. It's not looking how I want it to. The Dow's kind of sloppy as well. So that last hour may end up giving us something better. And the NASDAQ, see, it's not, it hasn't respected this either. See what I'm saying? You see how this price here at 130 closed above that? That to me doesn't signify bearish. Doesn't signify bearish. And on the S&P, I would still want to give this a couple of candles, because remember, even without that 5 minute, that's why I made the bigger one darker. I think is because that's a 15 minute. So I feel like the 15 minute would have a little bit more emphasis on this imbalance. But again, what I don't like about it is that candle right there. because we traded into this imbalance and then off of it, but they came all the way back up and closed as a bullish candle. Like, I don't know about that, Chief. I don't know about that. Okay. And now we are trading above, and it looks like this 5-minute candle wants to close above that. We really didn't peep a 1 minute either. I usually have two. I usually have the 5 minute and then the 1 minute as well. So look what the 1 minute's doing. I know we didn't watch it. We weren't watching it. But look at it. It traded below this low, ran up off of that, came down, and then these three down candles put together. Price respected that. And this is kind of forced in my opinion, but that looks like a potential mitigation as well. Low, high, lower low, took stops, broke structure to the upside, came back, boom, and then ran. So, you know, but we watched that on like a 5 minute though, because we saw it come down and then off of that back into that. You know what I mean? And that's why I said if we were bearish, I would want to see expansion lower, not expansion higher. Make sense? Does that make sense? The magic of thinking big, asking it is given, the power of positive thinking delivered tomorrow. Very excited for some great spring reading outdoors. That's awesome, Naruto. That's awesome. I don't have any of those, but it's sounds pretty solid. What's good, Alex? Oh, that reminds me, I gotta screen I gotta screenshot something real quick. I'm just gonna play the starting soon for just a second, but I'm still here. Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. I just want to screenshot the chat because those snipers are pretty badass, and I've been wanting to screenshot it, but I haven't been able to do it. All right, there we go. I got it. I got my screenshot. I got my screenshot. So, what do we do? What do we do now? What do we do with this information? As of right now, I'm not doing anything with this. But if we're wrong being bearish, we may be bullish. Okay? Not entirely sure. At this point, I think this late in the day, I would wait until the last hour and then probably play something on the 1 minute, or I would just chalk up today as walking away and being done. I think I would be done. Let me come back to the 15 real quick. So this current 15-minute candle, okay, I think the 15-minute overall looks like doo-doo, I'll be honest. And I'm going to take this off as well. This, again, is the 15-minute imbalance, okay? So it has traded to the higher end of that. And if that gets respected, that may be something. And then that last hour may deliver downside. If not, I'm not doing anything. I wouldn't do anything. Because we could, and it could just be one of those days that ends up rallying all the way until the close. Okay? So go back if you want to watch this in the recording, go back to that 1 o'clock 105 time period and note the commentary that was in there. Okay? Because I explicitly said, okay, I specifically said I would want to see us close below that, and that would make me, you know, more confident in being bearish. We never got that. And I said that looks more like a stop run. And lo and behold, we have traded higher. Okay. Now, I also said, not to make myself like, you know, on a pedestal, no shit like that, but, you know, I did say I don't want to long because of these equal lows. So in all fairness, you know, I didn't do anything with that. Okay, I didn't long in here. On the 1 minute, it looks like we could have, but obviously it's too late for that. But I don't like to long when there is equal lows. That's just one of my rules of thumb, and that's just, you know, it's just very hard for me to do that. It's very hard for me to push the button going long when I know there's equal lows. And then my psychology is all fucked up too, because I just know that if I do that, I'm breaking a rule, and that, you know, that really screws with you. Like if you are a disciplined person and you purposely break a rule, psychologically, it's gonna mess with you pretty bad. It's gonna mess with you pretty bad because you know you're doing something that you're not supposed to do. So I would rather look at this and go, okay, I missed being long. Okay, well, dude, it's only what? Wednesday, right? It's only Wednesday. We still got Thursday, and then Friday's the close of the week and of the month. You know, so Friday I'd probably expect a little bit of volatility as well. But there's no news today. So, I mean, there was, I think, there was orange folder. There was like consumer something or housing some shit. I don't know. It didn't do anything to the market. And that's why I really don't look at orange folders. I really only look at red folders. But, you know, are there going to be bangers every single day? To me, no. Yesterday's final hour was a banger. This right in here, actually, I was looking at the NASDAQ, but the S&P still had that similar imbalance. That right there was a banger. And that, stuff like that, 10, 12, maybe 15 points, depending on if you held past the close or not, or even on the NASDAQ, stuff like that, you can be done for the week on. So if we had did that yesterday, I wouldn't even be concerned with today. And then I'd come back in the afternoon. I'd probably sleep in and then come back to the charts and be like, oh, look at that. We skipped today and it's fucking done nothing. You know, so it's like, great. I didn't sit in front of my charts all day and watch it do nothing. You know what I mean? I mean, there was opportunity here, but I'm just saying, generally speaking, there was really no big moves here. There's been no big moves here today. 8:30. Here's our current high. Okay, we came 15 points off the high. Okay, that's okay. Never took that low. We rallied about roughly 17. Okay, so today's range is 17, maybe 18 points. Wow. Wow, it's not a lot. It's not a lot. Okay. Okay. I don't want to force you to press buttons or anything. I'm just trying to see, like, okay, if we are bullish, is there a buying opportunity? And I'm not really sure. Kind of like yesterday at the NASDAQ. Remember, I kept saying, like, I don't see shit. I don't see shit. Wait for the last hour. And then boom, phenomenal last hour. And I kind of feel like that right now too. Between now and the next 15 minutes, I mean, I don't really see anything too crazy. So all the more reason to go read a book. But if I here, I'll give you a little bit more. If I was short right now, I'd be worried, because if my stop was up here, I'd be worried. So now here's the question. And I thought the same thing, Ali. I just didn't say anything earlier. If you were short, let's just say you shorted that imbalance and your stop was up here, how would you feel right now? Would you feel like your stop loss is gonna not get hit? Or would you feel like, ah, damn, we might get stopped down on that? And if you were short, and if you felt like this was gonna get hit, would you let it get hit, or would you just take the loss right now? You don't have to answer that. I just want to give you something to think about. Because this kind of looks like one of those days where, or one of those trade ideas where, if you had been short and then you realize you were wrong, you could have gotten out at a much smaller loss near your entry versus waiting for your stop to get hit. Because I think that's one of the dumbest things people do. I'll just let my stop loss get hit. For what? For what? Especially if you're trading with size. Dude, if you're trading with fat lots, those 2-3 points or 5 or 6 pips, that shit adds up, man. It does. Why purposely let your stop get hit when you could just take a partial loss? I'd much rather do that. If I was short right now, I'd get the fuck out of here right now. Well, I would have been out prior to this, because that reaction here didn't give us what we want. So I would have gotten out near the entry at a break even, and then I wouldn't do anything with the rest of this. But if I was short and my stop was at here or above that, dude, I'd get out. I'd get out right now, thinking, no, this is going to take the high. Again, hypothetical, I would say, I think that's going to hit the high. My stop is there, so I don't want that to happen. I'll just close. I may not reverse the position. I may not reverse it and go, ah, fuck, well, I'm wrong on the short, let me go long. I probably wouldn't do that up here. I probably wouldn't do that here. Because it does look kind of sloppy, but look, it's drifting higher. You know what I mean? Like it looks like it's just getting ready to take 40, 50. It's a 50 level as well. Like it looks like it just wants to jam up there within the next couple minutes. You know, I've watched price action enough to know what it's like if I'm short and price is getting very close to my stop loss. You know what that's like. Everybody knows what that's like. You're trying to pray and stuff, you know? Come back to my entry so I get out. Just come back to my entry. No, the market is not here to serve you. The market is here to take your money. That's what it's here to do. It is here to grab you by, I'll be professional today. Okay, it's here to take what you've got. Okay, so half the battle is not letting it do that. Look at this high. You think this high is gonna get fucking ran? Pretend to be short right now. Pretend to be short right now. Think about that. Would you be okay if you were short right now on the S&P? See? Look at that. NASDAQ made a new high. Disrespected that imbalance entirely. So think about that. Think about that. If you shorted this, if you shorted that imbalance with a stop at this high, right? You remember how I said on the S&P, if we close above the imbalance, that invalidates the idea. Well, look at this. Next 5-minute candle closes above that imbalance, right? So think about that. If this was your initial risk, why not, as soon as that candle closes, why not just take a partial loss? Look at that. Think about that. If this was a 1% risk, and that candle closes, as soon as the next candle opens, you could exit that micro loss. Okay, very small loss on that. That'd be like 1/3. So if this entire position was 1%, right? If that entire thing was 1%, this right here would have been like 0.33%. You see what I'm saying? 0.33%. Much smaller loss. Okay. All right. Maybe we take the high, maybe we don't. I think it will, though. I'll be honest. Damn, man. Fucking drawing tool. Okay. Where's our last hour? It's right here. Okay. We have equal highs now at 40, 49, 75. Okay. One little blip to this down candle here. Okay. We got 8 minutes left in this hour too. Boom. There it is. There's like one tick above that high. You're stopped. You're stopped on shorts if your stop was at that high. So you see what we did there? Oh man, but John, you're not giving me a trade. You're not doing this and that. You're not telling me where to exit or enter. Well, I'm trying to give you some logic here, because originally we were looking for shorts. Originally we were bearish, but then I walked you through why that idea was wrong. And if you paid enough attention, had you shorted the imbalance, when price came down here, remember I said I want to see expansion. I don't want to see us trade back up. We didn't get expansion. So you had an opportunity to go break even before the price came back up and into this area. Okay. That right there. So that was like maybe 4 points, give or take. So the market did trade the way we wanted it to off that imbalance. It just didn't continue in that direction. So there was opportunity for fucking supreme trade management. Okay? Supreme trade management, because you're getting break even before the market like sprints to your stop loss. To me, what's better than that? A break even is better than a loss every time. Every time. A break even is better than a loss. Okay, there's 4,050. There's that 50 level. Boom. Look at that fucking jump, guys. Look at that jump. Why do you think it does that? It just wrecked anyone who's been trying to short that has a stop up there. Did you see that on the screen? It fucking like 6 ticks. It just jumped magically. Look at that 1 second time frame. Look at this. Look at this 1 second time frame. It went from 4,050 straight up to 4,051 and a half. That's 6 ticks. It jumped. So then if your stop loss was somewhere in here, guess what? You just got slipped an extra 4 ticks, 5 ticks. Look at that, dude. Look at that. Come on, man. Superior trade management. I know it sounds egotistical, but hey, break even's better than a loss. Period. You can't argue that. There is no logic better than that. Period. So that's all I'm saying. I may not give you exits and entries every day, but I'm giving you my thought process to not take a loss when you're wrong. Sometimes you will take full losses. That's a thing. But if you can configure it to where you take half your original loss, or maybe even a third of your original loss, that frees up more risk for later trades. Because guess what? If I took a break even on this versus a full 1% loss, what happens after you lose? We all do this shit. Oh man, I need to get my loss back. I need to get it back. Versus break even. Oh, hey, you know what? I can still go in with another 1% risk because I didn't fucking lose on my last trade. Or you can say, you know what, man? It's been a long day. I'm on the wrong side of the market, but I didn't lose money. Let me just go ahead and step to the sideline so I don't get fucked up. It's logic, man. It's a simple logic. But you won't understand this type of stuff until you really do this for a while. Okay? You really have to do this for a while. See? Look at that. Look at that. Straight to stop loss on that. We didn't short that. Not the NASDAQ. We weren't looking to short the NASDAQ. It's the strongest index. Okay, look at it. It's rallying, making a new high. We don't want to short the strongest index. That's why. Okay. So, oh, look at that. I think we have equal lows. Oh, ES looks like shit, but micros don't. All right, these aren't obvious, and I'm not gonna tell you to aim for this. But if the market does pull back in that last hour, anyone who's been long, they may have trailing stops here, but that's not super obvious to me. If it's more obvious, it's better, in my opinion. Like the ones down here. Like the ones down here to me are a lot more obvious. I would rather see that. But now that we're approaching the last hour, we've rallied intensively away from that. Now we've got a decent range on the day because we've broken this morning's low. So we're seeing expansion on the upside. That's fine. Only we're not long. So it is what it is. But there's your lesson for today. A little bit on trade management. A little bit on I'm bearish, but I could be wrong. And if I am wrong, I'm quick to admit that I'm wrong. Right? Generally speaking. Like, that's the ideal trader. Okay? You want to be... I might be wrong. And if I am wrong, I want to be wrong very little. I don't want to try and marry the idea. Because guess what? If you married the idea of being short, you just got stopped out. Whose fault is that? Well, John, it's the market's fault, man. The market rallied and got me out. Right. But if you couldn't admit that you were wrong, even though damn fucking computer. I think we should be good. If let me do a sound check real quick. Because sometimes it doesn't do well. Can we do a sound check real quick? Do I sound okay? Someone dropped a gem. Oh yeah, Naruto dropped a gem. That's probably my favorite emoji so far. Is the gem. Just market priming new sell orders, 200 IQ. Yeah. All right. Appreciate that, Orlando. All right, thank you. Saint? I think that's how you say that. I'm not sure. Man, I forgot what I was saying. I was going in for a minute. Oh yeah. So if you are wrong and you know you're wrong, why would you marry the idea? Why? And this is the reason, now that I got like 30 something of you on here, this is the reason, okay? I just fucking proved it to you the last hour and some change. This is the reason why people who say that, oh, you should just put your orders in and walk away. Dumbest shit I ever heard. Dumbest shit I ever heard. Just walk away, don't watch it. Okay. Sure, you take a full loss, I'll take a break even. How about that? How's the logic on that? Walk away. What the fuck am I walk away for? How do you manage a trade if you're not watching it? Now, I'm not saying micromanage it. You know, if it's going your way and you're at break even, okay, that's okay to walk away if you need to, that's fine. But if you've got open risk and you don't know if order flow is in your favor yet, why would you walk away? Well, you know, I'm comfortable with the risk. You can be comfortable with the risk and still be a fucking idiot, though. You can still be retarded. Why? That doesn't make any sense. And sorry, I don't know, you know, if I offended you, I'm sorry, but I'm just saying, like, the advice that people have is just, it does damage. It's damaging, dude. It's damaging. And I don't want that for you. I don't want you to experience, you know, a full loss if you don't need to. And look at that 1 minute candle. That 201 candle. I don't know if there was is there a speech today? I don't know, but it looks like we're getting some volatility. So watch those lows here. Watch those lows at 40, 45. I'm going to go here in just a minute. I'll give it like 3 or 4 minutes. But watch those lows. Because again, anyone who's been long, if they're trying to squeeze out more juice from today, their stops are going to be probably below here. So, you know, think about this. If you were long and your stop was right here, would you be worried? Would you be sweating it? I probably would be. I probably would be. I'd probably be like, fuck, you should have got out at a new high. Should have got out at a new high. Yeah, I'll just give it like two, maybe 3 more minutes, and then we'll hop off here. Yeah, look at that Dow. Look where Dow traded. Look where Dow traded. Just like 2 minutes ago, 3 minutes ago. Look, morning's high. Swept aggressively. But that 5 minutes kind of shaking it. So like I said, I don't know what we do from here. I'm not going to touch this at all. I'm going to leave it alone. I'm going to leave it alone. I wouldn't press any buttons here. But just wait and see. Okay? So just have that on your chart. Whatever this is, 40, 45, just have that there. And we'll see what we do the rest of the day. But I'm not bullish. I'm not bearish. And I'm just going to call it a day. Done. Okay? So again, hopefully you guys learned something from being here. Hopefully you learned some little bit about risk management. And yeah. Oh, Saint has seen the replies on Twitter. Yeah, and notice what they say. Right? I ask them, how do you manage your trade if you're not in front of your computer? And they don't reply. They don't argue because they don't have a point to argue. Think about that. If you had a sound logic and you truly wanted the best for other people, you would argue with me. Because some people have made a good point, and I've admitted that, hey, you know what? Maybe you're right. I have done that before. But a lot of the times, if you're straight up wrong, oh yeah, I'm going to say something. And you know why I do that? It's not to seek, you know, an argument or, you know, to gain followers and stuff like that. No, I know that other people are watching. Go on Twitter right now. Look at anybody's post. You'll see the number of likes versus the number of views. And the views is always exceedingly higher than the number of likes. I know that people are watching. People are scrolling and they're reading. They may not interact, but I know they're reading. And guess what? I know people read what I say, and that gets people thinking, you know what? That's a good question. Why don't we manage the trade? Why don't we look at order flow? Why do we just walk away? And then you're supposed to think, bro. If Plato was here, if Marcus Aurelius was here, or any of the Stoics were here, right? They would probably ask the same thing. What's in your control? What's out of your control? Well, what's within my control is looking for order flow. What's within my control? Pushing stops to break even, or reducing risk, taking partials, not being lazy, having a sound plan, having a sound risk management. I mean, fuck. There's a lot of things that you can do that are within your control. But I say that so people can think for themselves and go, man, this guy's got a point. I wonder if I can improve my trading. That's the point of that. You know what I mean? Arc, let me see. Guys, I really have to go, but I'm also really trying to see if these equal lows are here. Or I want to see the equal lows sweat before we get off here. We may not get that, but that's what I think. I think we're going to go for 45 easily. Those equal lows are too juicy. And we're coming off the high of the day for Dow. So I think that could happen. Let's talk about an example where you could take break even or cut it with small loss, but there's higher or lower PD array above or below your current entry. Would you cut it anyway or wait? I would just cut it. I would just cut it. If you're wrong and you have a good justification for it, I would just cut it. Why would you choose US 500? Why not US 30 or 100? Well, first of all, Blurry, all of those are CFDs, which I don't trade. Okay, I look at futures and I trade futures. But I prefer the S&P over the other indices majority of the time. Sometimes I trade NASDAQ, sometimes I trade Dow, but the majority of the time I trade the S&P. That's just who I am, and that's just what I prefer. May not always be the best, but the S&P offers low risk, high reward setups pretty much every single day. You applied the last hour concept to gold and got a nice trade there. Hey, nice. Nice. What's good, Mia? We're actually getting ready to shut it down here, though. We're getting ready to shut it down. So yeah, I gotta go. I'm gonna cut it here. Keep 40-45 on your chart just to see if we get that here in the last hour. If we don't, I'm not gonna be upset if I'm wrong. I'm not gonna really brag if I'm right either, because I'm not trading this. I just want to see if that's what we get. Okay. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I have no idea, but that's what I think is a possibility. So we'll see. There's 52 minutes left in the day. So y'all be blessed. Hopefully you learned something. If you did learn something, give the video a like. I would greatly appreciate that. And here's the last thing. I'm going to put out a video sometime this week, probably tomorrow or Friday. And I'm going to outline what to do for our giveaway, our first giveaway. All right, here on YouTube. So y'all be blessed. Have an amazing rest of your day. And I will see you Friday for our next stream. Take care.